Growing up, my mother saw that I was super hyperactive and had a lot of mood swings. And so I was on medication to help balance things out. At least that's what she thought the medication was doing. For me, I just got tired of getting on and off different medications and had a lot of swings with my emotions and got to a point where I had had enough and I wanted to explore in about ninth and 10th grade a different way. As I was researching a different way, I came across some information about the glycemic index and was pleasantly surprised at how everything in the way I was eating began to change. What I discovered was that the glycemic index helped me to identify how what I was eating turned into blood sugar and what that blood sugar was doing to my mood, to my moods, to my energy, and also to fat. Some people look at the glycemic index and they ignore it because they think, well, it's more of a diabetic thing. People with diabetes are the ones that really need to choose the order that they're eating certain foods. I'm here to tell you that this is for everybody. I highly recommend that when you're looking at a meal plan and you're trying to balance your waist and your energy level and everything else, it's not about calories. It's about following a glycemic index and balancing your blood sugar. So you're now seeing this range from low to high. What you're seeing is this idea that food can be put in a ranking in terms of how foods are affecting blood sugar. So a lower number means food is digested slower, and that creates a lower rise in blood sugar. Carbs, of course, increase the blood sugar the most, and then fats and proteins. I've mentioned blood sugar a couple of times. So what is blood sugar? Just real quick, it is glucose. And glucose is our main source of energy. It's produced when we break down any carbohydrate. We feel our best when we're balanced with glucose. Now that doesn't that with blood sugar, and that doesn't mean we have to be in medium all day long, though that definitely helps, and that's where a lot of people that were looking at more ketogenic diets begin to move with their thinking. But again, I'm here to say the right amount of protein, fat, fiber, that's going to help us naturally stabilize blood sugar, and that'll help to burn the fat. That'll give you the consistent energy throughout the day and keep insulin spikes at bay so you're not holding the fat. So back to the range. Well, what type of foods are on the range? First, I just want to point out that if you were to number this range, low would go from about 0 to 49, and then the medium range numerically would be about 50 to 69, and then highs 70 to 100. Refined sugar being at 100. And the best way to look at your food and to say where is it at is to do what I call the chew test. So the next time you get an apple, I want to invite you to bite through that apple and just chew and maybe count by 1/1000 and see how long it takes you to chew and to swallow that food. So things that are on the lower end of the spectrum and up into the medium are things with substance. If you look at an apple, it's very fibrous. There's just a lot of substance again, and it takes time. And when that goes into the body, it takes time for the body to start to break things down. Now, one thing I will say, just a quick plug for water. It's often best to drink your water before your meals to get that hydration in before. There is a remarkable process that happens with the breakdown of food independent of having water. In fact, if you drink a lot of water while you're eating your meal, it can interrupt that digestive process. So that there's just a plug for staying hydrated throughout the day before your meals. So there are a few things that a few extra things I'll say about this particular screen. So you're seeing that in large measure, fats don't do much with, in fact, some research suggests fats don't do anything with blood sugar. It really is the carbs and the proteins, but once carbs, proteins, and fats come together, then there is a response. But things like the peanuts and the asparagus and the fish that you're seeing on the left are on the low end. And then you have rice, like a brown rice more than anything. That bowl may be a jasmine rice. And then yams, sweet potatoes in the middle. And then again, refined sugars and things like potatoes, fries are going to be things on the high end. Now, takeaways to all of this. So the GI index, it's extremely helpful in meal planning. That said, it's so important, as you can see in point one, where I have carbs plus carbs. So if you look at the number of carbs, the grams of carbs, if you take in too many carbs, it's that's going to have a much bigger impact than the GI index, than just looking at the type of carbohydrate on blood sugar levels. And that may seem very obvious to you, but with any meal planner, when you see that toward the end of the day, the number of grams of carbs are lower, it's because your body's just not going to be able to process all of that, regardless of the type of glycemic carbohydrates. So point two, so lower to mid-range glycemic carbohydrates, that's really going to give you stable blood sugar throughout the day. But that being said, in point three, what changed the game for me, and what changes the game for people as I begin to work with them, is I'll do a survey for people looking at their meals and what they want to do with their goals. And quite often, the very first thing that I do is I just start rearranging where the high glycemic carbohydrates, medium and low glycemic carbohydrates are. So take the things that they already like to eat and just rearrange them such that they're having fats first and then protein and carbs, but that those carbs toward the beginning of the day, when you're more active, you're having your higher carbohydrates, you're having more grams of carbohydrates, so larger portion sizes, and you're able to utilize more of those carbohydrates. And I'll say, even with the refined sugars, for me, I try not to have refined sugars after about 5 o'clock, but if I'm active right around the middle of the day and even around 5 o'clock, then your body may be able to utilize those carbohydrates. So in summary, high glucose in the blood can be a bad thing. In fact, it can increase blood pressure and really get you into some trouble. And so we want to balance blood sugar so that you can balance your waist, you can maintain a healthy weight, and have the energy that you want to enjoy constantly a more and more elevated quality of life. Love to answer some questions for you. Hope this has been valuable. Continue to make it a great day.